On February 24, 1303, during the First War of Scottish Independence, Scottish forces led by John Comyn and Sir Simon Fraser ambushed and defeated a larger English army near the village of Roslin. This victory was notable for the Scots despite the ongoing challenges they faced during the war. Fought on February 24, 1525, the Battle of Pavia was a decisive engagement in the Italian Wars. The Habsburg forces under Emperor Charles V defeated the French army led by King Francis I, who was captured during the battle. This defeat significantly shifted the balance of power in Europe, marking a turning point in the Italian Wars. Pope Gregory XIII issued the papal bull Inter Gravissimas on February 24, 1582, initiating a reform of the Julian calendar. This adjustment, known as the Gregorian Calendar, corrected inaccuracies in the calculation of leap years and realigned the calendar with the solar year. It is the calendar system most widely used today. The Cudgel War was a peasant uprising in Finland against the Swedish nobility. The final and decisive battle occurred on February 24, 1597, at Santavuori Hill in Ilmajoki, where the peasant forces were defeated, effectively ending the rebellion. Claudio Monteverdi's L'Orfeo, one of the earliest works recognized as an opera, premiered on February 24, 1607, in Mantua. This composition is significant for its innovative use of music to convey dramatic narratives, laying the foundation for future operatic works. On February 24, 1739, Nader Shah of Persia defeated the Mughal Emperor Muhammad Shah at the Battle of Karnal in northern India. This victory led to the Persian sack of Delhi and marked a significant decline in the Mughal Empire's power. The U.S. Supreme Court case Marbury v. Madison was decided on February 24, 1803. This landmark decision established the principle of judicial review, empowering the judiciary to invalidate laws that are contrary to the Constitution. In early 1809, during the Napoleonic Wars, British forces launched an expedition to capture the French colony of Martinique. The campaign was successful, and the island remained under British control until it was returned to France after the Treaty of Paris in 1814. On February 24, 1822, Swaminarayan inaugurated the first temple of the Swaminarayan Sampraday, the Sri Swaminarayan Mandir in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. This temple became a central place of worship and has significant cultural and religious importance in the region. The Treaty of Yandabo, signed on February 24, 1826, ended the First Anglo-Burmese War. As part of the treaty terms, Burma ceded significant territories to the British, marking a substantial shift in the region's political landscape. On February 24, 1854, the United Kingdom officially issued the penny red with perforations, making it the first perforated postage stamp available for distribution. Prior to this, stamps were imperforate and had to be cut from sheets manually. The introduction of perforations significantly streamlined the process of separating individual stamps, enhancing efficiency in postal services. On February 24, 1868, the U.S. House of Representatives impeached President Andrew Johnson, marking the first impeachment of a U.S. president. The primary charge was his violation of the Tenure of Office Act by attempting to remove Secretary of War Edwin M. Stanton without Senate approval. The House voted 126 to 47 in favor of impeachment. Subsequently, the Senate conducted a trial and Johnson was acquitted by a single vote, thus remaining in office. The Cuban War of Independence commenced on February 24, 1895, with an uprising in Bexar, near Santiago de Cuba. This conflict was the last of 3 liberation wars that Cuba fought against Spanish colonial rule. The war concluded in 1898, coinciding with the end of the Spanish-American War, leading to Cuba's eventual independence. On February 24, 1916, during the Japanese colonial period in Korea, the Governor-General established a clinic called Jahaiwan on Sorokdo Island. This facility was intended to segregate and treat patients with Hansen's disease, leprosy. Over time, Sorokdo became the site of a large leper colony, with a history marked by patient isolation and human rights abuses during the colonial era. In January 1917, German Foreign Secretary Arthur Zimmermann sent a secret telegram to the German ambassador in Mexico, proposing a military alliance against the United States. In return, Germany promised to support Mexico in reclaiming territories lost to the U.S., including Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. British intelligence intercepted and deciphered this message, known as the Zimmermann Telegram, and shared it with the U.S. government. Its disclosure on March 1, 1917, inflamed American public opinion and contributed to the U.S. decision to enter World War I. On February 24, 1920, Nancy Astor, the first woman to take her seat in the British House of Commons, delivered her maiden speech. She addressed the issue of alcohol consumption, emphasizing its detrimental effects on women and children, and advocated for stricter regulations on its sale. Her speech marked a significant moment in parliamentary history, highlighting women's perspectives in legislative debates. On February 24, 1920, Adolf Hitler announced the formation of the National Socialist German Workers' Party, NSDAP, commonly known as the Nazi Party, during a meeting at the Hofbräuhaus Beer Hall in Munich. The party's 25-point program, unveiled at this event, outlined its political agenda, including the rejection of the Treaty of Versailles, the unification of all Germans, and the exclusion of Jews from German citizenship. This event marked the formal establishment of the party that would later lead Germany into World War II. In the early hours of February 25, 1942, air raid sirens sounded throughout Los Angeles, California, due to reports of an unidentified flying object. Anti-aircraft batteries fired over 1,400 shells into the sky, but no enemy aircraft were found. The incident, later dubbed the Battle of Los Angeles, was a false alarm, likely triggered by wartime nerves and a weather balloon occurring shortly after the attack on Pearl Harbor. On February 24, 1943, during the Axis occupation of Greece in World War II, a massive protest took place in Athens. The demonstration was organized against the German plans to forcibly mobilize Greek workers for labor in Germany. The protests saw significant participation from students, civil servants, and workers, leading to clashes with occupation forces and collaborationist police. The widespread resistance resulted in the cancellation of the forced labor mobilization in Greece. On February 24, 1946, Juan Domingo Perón, a former vice president and labor secretary, was elected president of Argentina with 56% of the popular vote. His administration focused on industrialization, state intervention in the economy, and social welfare programs aimed at benefiting the working class. Perón's policies, known as Peronism, sought to position Argentina between capitalism and socialism, advocating for a third position. However, his tenure also involved significant political repression, including the jailing of political opponents and restriction of press freedoms. Perón was eventually overthrown in a military coup in 1955, but returned to power in 1973. During China's Cultural Revolution, radical leftist Zhang Chunqiao announced the establishment of the Shanghai People's Commune on February 5, 1967, aiming to model it after the Paris Commune with a system of direct democracy. However, by February 24, 1967, under directives from Mao Zedong, the Commune was dissolved and replaced by the Shanghai Revolutionary Committee. This shift was due to concerns that the Commune's structure might weaken centralized authority. The new committee integrated military personnel, revolutionary cadres, and mass representatives, becoming the prototype for similar bodies across China during that period. The Tet Offensive, launched by North Vietnamese and Viet Cong forces in late January 1968 during the Vietnam War, was a coordinated series of attacks on more than 100 cities and outposts in South Vietnam. One of the most intense battles occurred in the city of Hue, where Communist forces captured the citadel and held it for several weeks. By February 24, 1968, South Vietnamese forces, led by General Ngo Quang Trong, successfully recaptured the citadel, effectively marking the end of the Tet Offensive. Despite being a military setback for the North, the offensive had a profound impact on U.S. public opinion, leading to increased anti-war sentiment. On February 24, 1976, Cuba formally enacted a new constitution, restructuring the government based on socialist principles. The constitution established the Communist Party as the leading force in society and the state, created a system of people's power through elected assemblies, and outlined citizens' rights and duties. This legal framework aimed to consolidate the socialist achievements of the Cuban Revolution and remains in effect with amendments to this day. In 1983, a special commission established by the United States Congress issued a report condemning the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II. The commission concluded that the internment was a result of racial prejudice, war hysteria, and a failure of political leadership. This acknowledgement led to the Civil Liberties Act of 1988, which formally apologized and provided reparations to surviving internees. On February 24, 1991, coalition forces initiated the ground assault phase of Operation Desert Storm, crossing from Saudi Arabia into Iraq and Kuwait. This offensive aimed to liberate Kuwait from Iraqi occupation, following an extensive aerial bombing campaign. The ground war was swift, lasting approximately 100 hours, and resulted in the successful liberation of Kuwait. In 2007, Japan successfully launched its fourth reconnaissance satellite, enhancing its capability to monitor potential regional threats, particularly from North Korea. This development was part of Japan's broader efforts to strengthen its national security and gather independent intelligence. On February 24, 2008, Fidel Castro officially retired as the president of Cuba and the head of the Council of Ministers after nearly 5 decades in power. His brother, Raúl Castro, who had been serving as the acting president due to Fidel's health issues, was elected as the new president by the National Assembly. Fidel Castro remained the head of the Communist Party of Cuba until 2011. On February 24, 2022, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a special military operation in Ukraine, leading to a full-scale invasion. This action followed Russia's recognition of the independence of the Donetsk and Luhansk regions. The invasion resulted in widespread international condemnation, economic sanctions against Russia, and significant military and civilian casualties in Ukraine.